Today on FSI, we are breaking down the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders from a betting perspective. Now, we're currently 27-8 in our official moves on Twitter, so make sure you're following that. Last week, we were 3-0 and profited $20,000, as well as Steve even hit his Chargers pick by getting 2 interceptions in the last 3 minutes, by luck, of course. Now, I'm your host, Tom Cross, and to my right is our analytics expert, Stephen Fu.
Thanks for tuning in this week. The Chargers are on the road as a 3.5-point underdog. They're plus 160 on the money line, and the Raiders, they're minus 180.
The spread is correct. The odds makers got this right. Raiders minus 3.5 because they have a lot of injuries that they're dealing with, especially in the secondary, which is basically all the Chargers are good at is passing. So the spread is right. I feel like the public might be on the Chargers. They're coming off a win. And the Raiders lost to the Colts, Jets, and Falcons. So I feel like, there's not going to be a lot of wagers on the Raiders in this matchup.
Even though the Chargers have been mathematically eliminated from the playoff contention, they still had a 3-point win over the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Raiders, they still have a chance at the playoffs, but that 17-point loss to the Colts will not help their chances. The market for the Raiders is a lot bigger compared to the Chargers, so I'm not surprised the Raiders are favorite here. They have the better win-loss record and the potential to make the playoffs. I expect the wagers to be very one-sided here.
Quarterback Derek Carr has been inconsistent this year. There's been some games where he's been looked amazing and spectacular. Everything has just been right on point. And there's been other games like against the Chargers where he's just been average. I gave him a C- in the last time they faced off. He did throw the long ball well, but he had trouble in the intermediate throws. I feel like overall Derek Carr is an above average quarterback, but he's not elite.
Justin Herbert is having a phenomenal rookie campaign. Taking over as a starting quarterback in Week 3, he has thrown 25 passing touchdowns and over 3,400 passing yards. It was a blessing in disguise for this Los Angeles team because the projected starting quarterback this year was Tyrod Taylor.
The Raiders' offensive line got Trent Brown back, and he's a big piece of that offense. Now, when you look at their last matchup in the Chargers and the Raiders, I actually gave the Chargers an A on the defensive line because they were able to pressure the Raiders 30% of the time. Now, this matchup is going to be a toss-up, but I got to give a very slight advantage to the Chargers here. They might be able to get a little bit of pressure on Derek Carr.
The Chargers' offensive line has been performing quite well this season, allowing just 28 sacks at a rate of 5%. Now, their pass protection should match up well against the Raiders because the Raiders' defense has the second lowest sack total this year. They're only getting to the quarterback 3% of the time.
Now, we had some late breaking news. Henry Ruggs is on the COVID list, so his status is definitely up in the air and it's looking very doubtful. Now, for the Raiders position group, Ruggs is very important because obviously he stretches the field and he has so much speed. Casey Hayward came back for the Chargers last week and they were able to do some things against the Falcons. They got 2 interceptions in the last 3 minutes and that really saved them because Justin Herbert threw a god-awful interception in the middle of the field in an earlier possession. Now, I do have to give a slight advantage to the Raiders here because they still got their tight end. They also got Hunter Renfrow, and Aguilar has been giving them some good minutes this year. So, slight advantage to the Raiders here.
Keenan Allen is the most reliable receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. The 8-year veteran has played every season with Los Angeles and is looking for his 5th 1,000-yard season. He's only 25 yards away from achieving that, and he'll be matched up against a suboptimal Raiders defense. They're allowing 7.2 yards per pass, which ranks them at the league average.
Josh Jacobs played a great game against the Colts. He was really getting the work done. And in fact, he actually had an Instagram post that said that he might not suit up, so he really trolled a lot of fantasy owners. Now, the Chargers, they really don't play good defense against the run. They're actually one of the worst in the league, so I got to give an advantage here to the Raiders in the run game.
Austin Ekeler will be the premier running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. He did miss several games in the middle of the season, but he was quite productive in his last performance. Against the Falcons, he averaged 5.3 yards per carry for a total of 73 yards rushing.
Injuries, injuries, injuries. That's exactly what this game comes down to. Now, I know Heath was out against the Colts, and they were missing another cornerback, and that's actually why I took the Colts. Now, I'm hearing that Jonathan Abrams might be out as well, so keep an eye on that Raiders secondary. If they're beat up, there is actually might be a move here on the Chargers, getting them at plus 4.5 or 3.5. You might be in a very good spot. Also, parlaying them or teasing them at plus 10.5 might be a really good spot to be if that Raiders secondary is beat up. Now, if they're not beat up and they have some of their starters in this game, I do like the Raiders in this game, but make sure you pay attention to the injury report on this one.
These two teams have very similar performance numbers. Each defensive criteria is within 5 ranks of each other. However, the number that separates these two teams is on the offensive side. The Raiders are significantly more efficient in passing and running the ball, and they're 10 ranks above the Chargers in both running and passing. Now, taking the spread at the 3.5 point is risky, so I recommend buying the Raiders down to minus 2.5.
Now remember, we can't predict injuries, PEDs, the weather, or COVID, so a lot of these decisions are coming down to the last minute when we get the inactive and active report. We're currently 27-8 in our official moves on Twitter, so make sure you monitor that. But that does it for us. Make sure you do us a favor and like the video and subscribe. And tell us who you're going to be taking in the comments below.
We don't care about favorite teams here. Our focus is on making you money. Follow our social media on Twitter, Instagram, or our webpage. The links are below.